Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Planet FPL Game Week 21 Deadline stream. And it's live, and you might notice something a little bit different this morning, as we are just under 1 hour until the Game Week 21 deadline. You will notice an update to the graphics. So let me firstly talk you through them and my moves for this week. So top right hand corner, you can still see my team sheet for the game week. I have taken a -4. Gone are Rafinha and the injured Harry Kane. In are Ilkay Gundogan as vice captain and Dominic Calvert-Lewin in as captain. I have around about 5 million and a little bit in the bank. Bottom right hand corner of the screen, you'll still see top captaincy picks for the game week. My preference, if I had Raheem Sterling, he would have my armband this week. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I've gone just over Ilkay Gundogan. To be honest, very close call, particularly with Guardiola saying that Gundogan will definitely play. Salah, Mahrez, Foden, Cancelo, Fernandes, Son, Grealish, my next preferences. To be honest with you, there are more possibilities this week than just the 10 I've named. For example, Sadio Mane's not even made it onto my 10. There are loads of potential captaincy options. The complete polar opposite of Game Week 20 when it felt like there was only one option. Who blanked? Left hand side of the screen, you'll see a clock ticking down until the deadline. The live time as it is now in the UK, and you'd also see a schedule graphic gives you the times of all the fixtures in the game week, and that has just flipped, or it will flip very shortly, to show you my correct score predictions for all 10 games this weekend. Those are my predictions that may help you with some of your benching dilemmas. So too, I hope, will the graphic that's below me right here. You can see that changing every 10 seconds or so. There are 13 names in those boxes, and it's an order of benching headache preference. So I prefer Mikel Antonio over Ollie Watkins, and then so on. So if you've got benching headaches, there's a good chance that something in that graphic will help you. And the bottom ticker at the bottom to the right of Deadline Live, we've changed to show each team's next 5 fixtures. Those are the updates to the graphics. My man FPL Captain is the MVP on the graphics. He has put a lot of work into this. Give him a hand. Give him a follow on Twitter at FPL Captain with a K. Right, 57 minutes to the deadline. Let's get into this. Let's get through as many of your questions as possible. If you submit a question and you think you've already heard the answer, please very kindly delete the message so I don't have repeat questions. That would be amazing. Edwin Guan, you are first again. Well done, sir. Hello, it's me again. Rob Pick says, which 2 players do you think are the best 2 to hit into my team? Dean and Barnes or Mitchell and Sterling? Captain. Armband on DCL with no Sterling. Wildcard and triple captain left, if that helps. Good luck this week. No influence by the chips there, Rob. Not keen on Mitchell as part of a hit. I think you're justifying that with Raheem Sterling as part of the hit. So it'd be Dean and Barnes for me, my friend. And then go with DCL captain. Damian Rozalski. Gareth Bale playing as a centre-forward striker versus Brighton is a must now. Please tell Mourinho to do it or else sack Jose. Your thoughts? Covered this in mass detail yesterday on my Ask James stream. I'd sack him either way, the fucking bastard. I wouldn't say it's a must, but it's what I would want to do. It's at least what I would want to try. The Emerald Pilot, morning James, Dean or Barnes for a -4 hit. If I go Dean, Dallas or Soufal make space. And if I go Barnes, Souček or Rafinha have to go. So when you put it like that, I want to say Luca Dean. However, to make the -4 hit worth it, rather than it just being a free transfer in midweek, you probably need an attacking return from Luca Dean. Whereas Harvey Barnes could go off. Like I know Az from Black Box was keen on actually sticking the armband on Harvey Barnes this week. So to be honest, from a hit perspective, I'd rather go Barnes. If it was a free transfer though, I'd say Luca Dean. I think unfortunately a lot of hits this week, because of people's benching headaches, define that you are probably judging it on one game week, because it's a transfer that obviously you could potentially make in midweek. I'm gonna say Harvey Barnes. Vish said, is DCL really a good captaincy option? Isn't he a bit like a Jimenez that he scored points consistently when team was full strength, yet not mega hauls, but is that the best basis for captaincy? Well, other than Allen, they are now back to full strength. Abdullah Decore returns from suspension today, and they're playing one of the teams in the league that I would really want to target at the moment in Newcastle United. I think Everton will win the game fairly comfortably today. It is fair to say that I would never stick the armband on Raul Jimenez, ever. If Raul Jimenez was obviously playing, which we'd love, and had Newcastle at home today, I wouldn't have considered Jimenez for a second. DCL has power if delivery is right, and Newcastle drop. So I've gone for it. I think it's wide open this week, and I don't think, like, if you went for, to be honest, there's 15 or so players where if someone wants to captain them, I'm really not going to be saying you can't do that or anything. Like, it's so wide open. There were many of you will be sitting there going, oh, I'm going Heung-min Son, he's the best choice. I've got him 9th on my list. Sadio Mane I've seen captain. I just meant as talking about Harvey Barnes. There were so many good options this week. It's wide open. My choices, I've gone for DCL. It's mainly because of Newcastle. Mikey2908 starts Souček or Bamford. Well, Mikey, if you have a look at the benching dilemma graphic that's below me on the screen, that will spin, and I've ordered them in preference. So if you take on the screen now Justin or Cresswell, I've gone Justin. Then it's Cresswell or Bednarek, I've gone Cresswell. Then it's Bednarek or Mitchell, I've gone Bednarek. So if you look at that graphic, mate, you'll find the answer. Thank you, Rob Pick. Thank you, Edwin Gwan. Chris Duckworth. Morning, James. Could do Kane to DCL or Watkins for a -4. Do you think it's worth the -4? If so, which one would you lean towards? Well, to be honest, as I'd made Gundogan in for Rafinha earlier in the week, it was a -4 decision solely on that one transfer of DCL for Harry Kane. So that's going to be my answer, Chris. The one and only Lee, good luck, boss. Ideas on Bamford minutes, how the game suits him, trying to weigh him up against Justin, who had the highest XG in the Everton game, I believe. It's quite straightforward for me, and those who regularly watch the streams probably know what I'm going to say to this. If I've got a forward who I believe is capable of scoring goals, he's going to play. It's as simple as that for me. Johnny Evans could be missing for Leicester. It's worth saying, suffered blurred vision in midweek. Not that they have a bad replacement in Kagler Syunchu, but it might cause a little bit of disruption. I think Leicester will win. It's not in question. I also think Leeds will score. And therefore, that makes me want to start Bamford. If I had Callum Wilson this week, I don't think they'll score. I'd still start Callum Wilson. Because he's on pens and stuff. So he's capable of scoring. And that's just, generally speaking, normally my philosophy. And that's why Bamford's in the team for me. PLO's Pen, afternoon, James, start Antonio or Reece. Would have certainly allowed this one, PLO's Pen, because Reece James is not on the bench in dilemma headache. I would probably have Reece James above all the defenders on the list. That would probably just about be my thinking. But I'd still start Antonio. Definitely be Antonio. But I would want to play Reece James, I must say that. Chance of him coming on as a sub, unlikelier than what they were under Frank Lampard. But strong possibility of clean sheet, obviously. Damien Rosowski, Gareth Bale, 9.3 million, a good option versus Brighton, Chelsea, West Brom. Not until you know that he's starting football games, Damien. Not an option. Not until once he's starting games, quite possibly. He might become an option very quickly, particularly if Kane's injury is something that's going to go into months rather than weeks. Kartik says Wood to Watkins or DCL, and also Robbo or Dallas to Dean or Justin. Which move to do -4? Well, I'm going to say Wood to DCL, aren't I? Edwin Gwan, start Martinez or Johnston. Start Bamford or Rafinha. Thanks, James. So Bamford over Rafinha. I think Rafinha's on the graphic. Wants to double check that now that Rafinha is on my graphic. He might not be. Martinez or Johnston. Rafinha is on the graphic, so you'll find the Bamford over Rafinha answer there. That's quite straightforward for me anyway. Martinez or Johnston? So you've got Martinez at Southampton, Johnston at home to Fulham. I've predicted in those cases Martinez to win 2-1 and Johnston to lose 2-1, so I'm going to say Martinez. John Bailey, why do you have Salah and not captain? Seems a lot of value to have and not use as captain. Sure, John. On that basis, I'll captain Mohamed Salah every week going forward. Thanks for your input. Lauren Harris, graphics look brilliant. Well done, captain. Thoughts on Kane? Is it Mourinho? Mind games are more serious. What are you doing with him in Sky? Just briefly in Sky, I didn't have anyway, so it's not a problem for me. To be honest, for most people in Sky who own Harry Kane, you're probably going to be Son or Calvert-Lewin if you're stuck in a 5-3-2. Otherwise, I would strongly consider the move that I'm likely to make tomorrow, which I've got Joel Matip as a problem. I'm going to buy Thiago Silva tomorrow as long as he's in the Chelsea team, and I would consider that as a very decent option. There's a good chance I'll captain Thiago Silva in that format of game tomorrow. In terms of my thoughts on Kane, I think it's serious. I think the early prognosis of weeks is optimistic. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 48 to 72 hours we find out this is months. I know him. There is no way he is coming off a football pitch with Tottenham losing a game unless he is fucked. It really is as simple as that. So the fact that obviously he had pain in both ankles meant that the one that was really bad, he possibly wasn't comfortable putting weight on the other one, and therefore it becomes difficult to play through the pain. I get that. The suggestion is it's not as bad as early as other ankle injuries he's had in the past, which he always picks up because of his weird shooting technique where he basically turns his foot onto the outside of his heel when he shoots on his standing foot, and that's why he constantly suffers recurring ankle issues. But I'm expecting this. If you said to me, what's more likely, Harry Kane to play against West Brom next weekend or Harry Kane to be out for 2 months, I would say to you out for 2 months. That's my feeling. I'm not ITK, I don't know anything, but that's just what I know with Harry, that he'll be bad if he came off the pitch. Definitely. Tim Ferrero, Jose, please give Gareth Bale a chance to start in 11 now that Kane is injured. Please, if he doesn't play well, then bench him, but at least play him today. It's not about today, Tiffy, but it's definitely about tomorrow. And as you can see from my predictions on the left-hand side of your screen, as it stands, I think we'll get beat tomorrow. The confidence has gone. Jassim Jazz, Grealish and Salah for captaincy, 4 and why. So Jassim, the captaincy graphic is always there on the right-hand side. Mohamed Salah you can back in almost any game week. I think Grealish on the left-hand side of midfield, as I spoke about yesterday and on Thursday's pod, could well have success in this particular fixture with Kyle Walker-Peters missing for Southampton. So decent option as well. Elliot says, are we okay just keeping 5-10 million in the bank, or should we find a way to save it? Do you mean spend it? But as I said, I've got about 5 million in the bank, so I don't think there's anything that's worth a -8. If there was, it probably would have meant me going Soufal to Luca Dean and then removing Lookman from the team, and I really fancy him today away to West Brom. I actually think he's a doubt to start, but if he starts, I think he's a good prospect of return from him, or returns even, depending on the way the game goes. I obviously could have gone Lookman straight to Son, and that's a possible move for me in midweek. I want to see what Tottenham do before I make that investment, and also have the understanding of the information on Harry Kane before I make that Heung-min Son move. Elliot has corrected himself and says spend. Edwin Grand says big up FPL captain. He is a superstar, isn't he? We were still messaging about 12:30 last night, finalising what this would look like. I have to say, this is 95% all his work. He is an absolute hero. He doesn't get paid for anything he's doing. He's just there trying to help because he enjoys helping. He's a fucking hero. I love him. He's my favourite person in the world. He has been in 2020 anyway. It's now 2021, isn't it? Eric Castillo, top of the morning legend. Brewster for DCL on a -4 and benching Saka. Sounds it. I can't argue that, Eric. Ritwick says Kane, Mitchell and Soufal out for -12 for DCL, Cancelo, Chilwell or Dean. So you asked me Chilwell or Dean. I think you've got to go Luca Dean at the moment because I don't think you can invest in Chelsea. If you've got Chelsea players, fine. I don't think you can buy them at this moment. We don't know where you stand yet. I'm not keen on that, it must be said, in terms of a -12. But if it's Chilwell or Dean, I'm going Dean. Lamichi, Grealish or Son to buy for the next few weeks. Thanks for the great work, James. Well, if you have to make that decision now, Lamichi, based on what I've just said, I'm going to tell you Jack Grealish. Because we don't know what's going to happen with Son. We generally don't know. We'd be guessing. I think he'll play through the middle. I think he'll play up front. And I don't think that's going to work out as well as it has done when he's previously stepped into that position in place of Kane. Because the way we play now is very different. I'm not convinced that that's going to be good. I'd rather Son played on the left and had someone with him who's also capable to score some goals. Gareth Bale, no names mentioned. So you'd have to buy Grealish, but with that said, you'll want Son next week. So if you don't have issues, can you make that decision in a week? Because the information we get on Son tomorrow could be crucial. Clayton said, morning James, the new layout is quality, thank you. The one and only Lee, graphics are sick, love them. Roseanne Flair, your odds on Jose Mourinho getting sacked after defeat versus Brighton, not playing Gareth Bale? About under to 1. Levy's not going to sack him while the main player is injured, and obviously Kane. And while he's got the team to a cup final by glorious means of beating Chelsea on penalties. Stoke, one of the worst teams we've played in about 10 years, and an admittedly decent championship team in Brentford. Yay, glorious. There's no chance of him getting sacked at the moment. When the season is still so open and stuff, zero chance of him getting sacked. Jamie Williams, hi again James, worried about lack of Everton coverage, Bamford to DCL for -4. Is that silly? It's not silly. I'm not sure I'd pull the trigger on that though. I mean, I was sitting there debating. For me, the debate was basically Calvert-Lewin in for Souček -4, as Kane would have been ruled out, and I would have started Souček instead. So that's what I had to decide. I decided that I thought that was worth it. If you're going to stick the armband on DCL, it's almost definitely worth it. That's a close call. A little bit more difficult actually for me in terms of Bamford. But my instinct says, yeah, go for it, Jamie. You'll probably feel better. Eric Fordham, hey James, DCL or Watkins for Kane? It's DCL. And from -4, Dallas to Cancelo or Souček to Grealish. Son, thanks for the help. Dallas to Cancelo, mate. Iadrizi, sorry if I mispronounced that. -4, Rashford to Son. For reasons just mentioned, no, wouldn't be doing that. Bluma Caldera, this should be Tottenham's team versus Brighton on the left. Bale with striker and Dombey is centre attacking midfield doing his skills. Result is 4-0. If not 2-0, Brighton win. Sack Jose. Well, I disagree with the majority of that because Ndombele needs to play in central midfield now. In terms of Tottenham's domination of football matches, we played well when he was in centre midfield. We fucking didn't when he wasn't. Victor Sandberg says, who to replace Vardy for? I really want to win team of the month in my mini league. €150 price. Currently first place with 4 points ahead. Who do you think will score the most? Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Rob Pick, every single one of you should be following FPL captain. Sam Howard, morning James. Bench Rafinha or Bamford. Currently leaning to play Rafinha. Sam, have a look at the new benching headaches graphic. They might not be on the screen at the same time, but if you work from left to right, eventually you'll find the answer to that question. Joey B93G, what a great job on the graphics, would save so much time. Hoping so, Joey. Stephen Lyons, morning James. I foolishly ignored your advice a couple of weeks ago, so your answer to this one will stand. Start Wilson versus Everton or Cody versus Palace. Stephen, I think you know what I'm going to say already, mate. Callum Wilson. I mean, I don't think Newcastle scored today, but he's on pens. It's as simple as that. He's a forward capable of scoring goals. Declan Burns, hi James, would you start Adams or Rafinha? Again, Declan. Benching headache, head that way, bottom of the screen on the graphics. If you work from left to right, you'll find your answer eventually. Rowan S, greetings James, who to start, Martinez or Areola? Also, what to do with Bednarek, looking to get rid in the next few weeks. Is Rudiger a suitable option? Let's roll the transfer then, Rowan. I think you just go Bednarek today if you have to. Areola in goal for me, playing West Brom. Can't look beyond that at the moment. I saw Scout had them in their, what do they call it, their best 11 of the weekend or whatever. Scout picks. They had Areola in goal. So Areola is my goalkeeper as well this week. That was quite a straightforward decision over Johnston personally. So I'd go him over Martinez as well. I think they have to. On Rudiger, to repeat, Rowan, Chelsea investment cannot be recommended at the moment. So wait. You might get some good information after this weekend. Yes, you might miss out on some points, but I think it's a wait. You need at least one more game of info. Alfredo says, Dyer or Davis, mate, considering Reguilon's out for 1 month. The irony, me actually getting asked a Dyer or Davis question. A very, very simple answer for that, Alfredo. Neither. Find something else. Honestly. Find something else. I go near Spurs defensively at the moment. I'm not joking. So the answer is none. If you have to pick one, Dyer. Fucking shit, mate. FPL Robo, not thinking about Watkins. I very much am thinking about Ollie Watkins. He might be coming in for me for Patrick Bamford in midweek. Haiku says, can you ask Daniel Levy to sack Joseph? He doesn't play Bale versus Brighton. It's about time. Jamie Faint, morning James. Would you play Justin or Maguire this week? That's a tougher one. I think I would probably just go Justin, actually. It's a good question, that. I'd probably just go Justin. I mean, I think United could get beat today. The thing with Maguire is, if they win and keep a clean sheet, yes, I know he scored in midweek, but he doesn't score as often as he should. He's probably a 6-pointer. Justin could range anywhere between sort of 1 and 14-pointer or so, couldn't he? So I think I'd play Justin. RS, Grealish versus Barnes versus Maddison. For me, Jack Grealish. Zaris, what should I do with Zuma? 0.4 in the bank. Should I take Stones or should I change Rafinha to Gundogan? Greetings from Greece, mate. You make me feel as make us feel comfortable managers. You're very welcome, Zaris. Hope everyone in Greece is well. I would make the Rafinha to Gundogan move, mate, and then gives you a little bit of time to make a more informed decision on Zuma. That's what I would do. Rhinos Leeds says Barnes Wilson. I'm gonna say Wilson. No, I think that one, because Harvey Barnes is so attacking, you'd go Harvey Barnes. Planting Seeds, Jim Bob, my brother, hope you are well, mate. Really fancy James Rodriguez to give a performance today. Debating the switch from Barnes to Rodriguez. Been on Barnes train for the last 7 weeks. I won't be coming off Harvey Barnes, mate. not before Leeds. No. You can fancy it, but no, I wouldn't be coming off Harvey Barnes, pal. Rishi says, hi James. Rashford out for a premium mid. Sterling or Mane -4. Or Peters and Rashford out for Gundo and Dean. I'm not keen on either. I'm not keen on either. I'm not keen for a -4. And to be honest, with that, Rashford to Sterling, if you want to put the armband on him, fine. I'd say. Otherwise, none of it. Irish Maverick, Salah or Mane? Have neither. Tempted with Mane. Well, if you're tempted, mate, crack on. Salah's always going to be the preference for me. I say always, most commonly. Navishka says, hi James, should I do Rafinha to Barnes or Grealish? My preference would be Grealish. Christian, prefer, please don't laugh. Oh god, last time I did that, Ilkay Gundogan scored 7 goals in 8 game weeks. De Bruyne, Rashford out for a Jose Perez and Mahrez captain. Should I do it? Why have you still got De Bruyne sitting in there, mate? I mean, what you're shoving with the money there? How are you going Rashford to Jose Perez? There's got to be another move in there. I'm not really sure I can really advise on this. Jose Perez is so short term, so I just wouldn't bother. Like Vardy could be back, possibly even in midweek. He's so short term. Mahrez captain is potentially a really good choice this week. He's also potentially left out the team. I think the team will be very similar to the win in midweek because I think Guardiola was really, really happy with it. So I think it might even be the same attacking. Do you know what? They might even be unchanged, as ridiculous as that sounds. It's possible. It's always unlikely, but it's possible that it could be the exact same team. Mahrez captain is okay. You know the pitfalls and the risks. I can't advise a Jose Perez. Could he do well this week? Yeah, sure. But it sounds like you really need to be moving other things about. RS says Cresswell and Stones versus Soufal and Diaz. Be Soufal and Diaz for me. Just a little bit more safety now. Laporte's pick. There is no Laporte is fit. There's no reason for Stones to come out of the team, but I just think that's a little bit safer. Stevens Hutchinson, morning James. Would you do Adams to DCL for a hit or just play Bamford? Well, I wouldn't leave Bamford out. If you're happy with your captaincy, Stephen, I would just play Bamford. John Harris, Martinez or Johnston? I answered that right near the start. Martinez. Rhinos Leeds. Early one said A, Barnes and Wilson. B, Saka. I'm not sure what the second bit's meant to be there, pal. Miller Marsh, yo James, the answer to Spurs' midfield control problem is simple. Ollie Skip is awesome. Leave him with us until the summer, though. Good luck this week. I'm really pleased to hear that he's doing really well. I hope he'll integrate back into the squad. He would not solve Tottenham's problems in terms of control at the moment. But I certainly hope that he's going to be a regular in the kind of one of the top 4 options in central midfield for Tottenham next season. Javier says Gareth Bale playing as a centre forward striker versus Brighton is a must now. We've had this bullshit already, mate. It's a bit boring. Sam Thomas, who would you start at, Bamford or Rafinha? Bamford seems the obvious choice, but Rafinha looked far better against Newcastle. Bamford, straightforward for me. Bruce says, shout out to my mini league rival who I know is watching now, winning 3 in a row, baby. Danny's saying, who would you start from these 3, James? Anthony Robinson, Pogba or Lookman? Cheers, love these streams. I would start Lookman and I would sell Pogba. I wouldn't even just leave him there. I'd sell him. I'd sell him for a -4. Just get him out. Tyler Sotak, play 2 between Pulisic, Antonio, Souček, Robertson. Antonio and Robertson. I mean, you really shouldn't be leaving a player like Pulisic on the bench, and as a lot of people will tell me, and it includes myself, shouldn't leave Souček on the bench. Get that? Can't pick all these players every week. And I've got a real hunch for Ademola Lookman this week. It's as simple as that. I don't pick players passed on the fear of what's gone previously. I had Souček's points in the week. I'm quite grateful. I genuinely fancy Lookman to outscore him this week. That's influenced my decision. Antonio and Robertson can't leave out like almost any game. So that has to be the answer. There's a good chance Pulisic doesn't start. Jassim Jazz, Soufal or Dallas's first sub. I would go Dallas over Soufal, I'd say. Azzy, I noticed you're in the same goalkeeper scenario as McCarthy Martinez owns this week. Heartache for the rotating keeper strategy. Callum says Aubameyang, Martial out for Werner and Bale with striker versus Brighton. Oh my goodness, mate. No. Might be buying 2 players who might not even play. For 2 players who might not even play. No. Rhinos Leeds, ignore my awful typing. Good luck, James, and going for world #1 in Jan. Good luck to you too, mate. Himanshu says, hi, James. I've got in Gundogan and DCL for Rash and Adams for a hit. You think it's worth getting Barnes in for Romeo? Probably yes. I can't really argue that. Andrew Moore, start Reece James, Souček or Bamford this week. I'm going to say Bamford. FPL Captain, morning, James. All looking good. Thanks, everyone. Thank you very much, FPL Captain. Stephen Hutchinson, love the graphics. Adds another level to your streams. Great work. Damien says, De Bruyne and Kane out for Martin Odegaard and William Jose. Yeah. And do it, like, take hits to do it as well, Damien. Amazing question. Stian Bosdale, holding out for Dean and hitting DCL captain for Kane. Worth it, yo. Of course, Stian, my friend. Yep. That's kind of what I've done, so yep. Enver says, Son, captain for me. However, need to plan for Chelsea players with the upcoming fixtures. Who would you think? It's just not in my thoughts. If you'd asked me for the last stream, I'd have said the one in my thoughts is Reece James, who wasn't even playing. I need the information of that team sheet tomorrow before I can genuinely recommend anyone for Chelsea. No interest. Can't see me going near him for a while. Arvin says, hi, James. Should I bench Souček or Harrison? Harrison. Jeremy Khaled, most difficult top 10 captain. Yeah, like this week. Because I, to be honest, as I said in midweek, I only really wanted to put one name there. This week, I could have put 20 names there this week. It's so open. RS says, start Cresswell, Target or Mitchell today. So if you replace Target with Bednarek in that question, mate, and if you look at the benching headaches, go from left to right. Eventually, you'll find your answer. So that. Niz Godfrey's congratulating captain on the great work. Jovial, can Sheffield United avoid relegation, mate? They face West Brom and Fulham in the next 4 fixtures. Blades forever. Well, Jovial, if you win at Manchester City today, I give you a chance. Alex Allegretto, thanks for the response, James. Have a good game week. You too, my friend. Torfig says, hey, James, last time I asked you if Gundy Cap is good, you said you're not keen. Today, who to start? El Ghazi, Lowton or Target? I mean, by default on that, it's Target, because I don't think El Ghazi will start. On Gundogan captain, look, I'm 1 round. He's my vice. I've been 1 round. Can't argue it on what I saw in midweek, how high he is. Haiku says, Kane out for Aguero versus Sheffield United. I already have Watkins and DCL. Just forget Aguero. Just forget him with this fantasy idea. Like, just forget him until you start seeing him playing football matches. Aguero is not going to play this weekend. Guardiola's already said that. Craig Garton, bench Wilson or Target? Target. Phil C, if you were playing Souček and benching Wood, would you sell Wood for a hit? Werner or Watkins? Yes. And of the two, I'd go Watkins. you might not see the immediate on that, but it will probably come back round for you. Tanzit says, Robbo to Dean. You don't mind that move if it's for free. Mark Byrne, morning James. Would you agree most of the game will wildcard in 24-25 for the double game week 26? Also, have you got an idea when you might be playing your wildcard? Would I want to wildcard in game week 30, immediately after the blank game week? But that's very dependent on if I can manoeuvre 26 safely. I think as it stands, I'm positioned quite nicely to be able to manoeuvre it, but it's really going to be how it looks when I walk into game week 24 and have an indication of what 26 might look like. And I can't make that decision to then. I would not wildcard in 24 because you won't have the full picture for 26. It's unlikely that you'll get it all before the 24 deadline. You can have a very good idea. There are certain teams will be able to say they'll definitely double, but you might not know their opponents. So it would be 25 wildcard. Yes, I think there will be a lot of wildcarders in 25. People cannot resist. And those who haven't used the bench boost are almost certainly going to do that in any case, which is fine. I want to try and manoeuvre it and take advantage of the last 9 game weeks. That's what I want to do. I want to land in a good place following what 29 will likely be a bad place. But it's easier said than done. Christian says, Andy at Let's Talk FPL takes the FPL Cup very seriously and now he's qualified for the 5th round match. Let's go. Your thoughts on FPL Cup and its importance in the game? Well, Andy is through to the 5th round of the Cup because he's currently in the top fucking 1,000 in the world in the overall rankings. So it's no wonder that he's through in the 5th round of the FPL Cup. Andy's taking it seriously, probably for the benefit of his streams. I love the fella, but I couldn't give a shit about it. Christian Tellez, hey James, liking the new additions to the live stream graphics. Good job to yourself and FPL Captain. Good luck game week, you too, pal. FPL Ralph, start Martinez or Johnston. I've done Martinez is my answer. Southampton scored the last 13 goals in the last 4 games against Villa. He's completely irrelevant. Was it the Aston Villa of now in any of those 4 fixtures? No. It would have been the Villa team that got promoted last year and the awful Villa team that got relegated 5 years ago. So it holds 0 relevance. Absolutely none. Roseanne Fleur, what is your greatest fear other than the one when you saw that you captained Lacazette in game week 18? That my son is unhappy for any reason. Sagnick says bench one of Robbo, Saka and Bamford. That would be Saka. Simeon Bachelor says, hey, Watkinson's son, OR, DCL and Zaha, thanks. I presume you can't go for Son and DCL there. The thing is, if you go DCL and Zaha and the pair of them turn out to be bad, you're going to hate that. You're going to hate that. So I'm going to say Watkinson's son. TJ Dara, hey James, looking to move on Dallas and Meslier in the next few weeks, feeling Pope to partner Martinez, but would want to remove Chilwell or Robertson. Who would you remove and replace until game week 30? Guys, there's a lot going on there. I can't really answer that until I've got a better understanding of what doubles and blanks are going to look like. And we at least know in Dallas and Meslier's case they'll play in 29. I'm not quite sure what you're asking me here, my friend. Looking to move on Dallas and Meslier in the next few weeks. Feeling Pope to partner Martinez, but wants to remove Chilwell or Robertson. Who would you remove and replace until game week 30? So if it's just it was a long-winded way of saying Chilwell or Robertson, who would you remove and replace until game week 30? I probably wouldn't do anything this week. I would, if you had to move now, I'd go look at Dean. But I wouldn't really want to sell Chilwell or Robertson particularly. Robertson to Dean, probably. I'd want Robertson in midweek, though. That's the only thing. I guess Robertson to Dean, if you're pinning me to the wall. Unbelievable, Jeff. Morning, James. Great concept as always. 2 threes. KDB to Sterling. Bamford to DCL. Good luck this game week. Atul says his graphics looking pro. Finley Farrow, how do I captain Foden or Barnes or Saka? Basically, you select them and then you click captain once you've selected on them. That's how you do it. Another Hoops FPL captain, new layout is awesome. And Mark, Mitchell or Wilson to start. And Mark, have a look at the nice new graphics. Benching dilemmas. If you work through there left to right, eventually you'll find the answer to that question. British says, hi James, hope you're doing fine. Love the new benching bar graphics, mighty helpful. Yeah, but I still get similar questions. FPL Fan Show, hope the lads there are doing well. They do great YouTube videos. Check them out. Captain Gundogan or Cancelo, mate. Yeah, but you should understand my graphics though, guys. Come on, bottom right. FPL Raf, do you worry? I don't worry, mate. About having 5 Liverpool and Man City players going into game week 23 when they face each other. Well, the first thing to say about that is there's a good chance that I won't. There's a good strong possibility I'll only have 4, and I don't worry about it. I've learned in the past with these sort of fixtures, you just ride through it. There's be so many people in a similar situation, so just ride through it and accept it. I mean, in my position, if I sold Robertson in a week and City went and won 2-0 at Liverpool, and I haven't put the captaincy on Salah, and I get an attacking return from one of the Stones and Gundogan scores as well, then it's great, isn't it? Do I worry about it? I really don't worry about this game. The only thing I worry about is my content. Shane Mid, bench order for Soufal, Fofana and Guisa. Thoughts? Okay, none of them mentioned, so we'd like that. I would go for Fofana over Soufal, then Anguissa. Yeah, just Soufal over Anguissa. Not mightily obvious, but I'd just go that way. James Nelson, Bamford, Rashford, Souček to start, buddy. Thanks for all the great content. I don't think you can leave a player like Marcus Rashford out. So if those are the 3 that you're choosing between, then Marcus Rashford. Anmol says, hey mate, Zaha with upcoming fixtures. Thoughts? Thanks. I think I defined this well on Thursday's podcast when I said I would rather reflect on it in 6 or 7 game weeks and say and have regret that we identified a great run of fixtures and he did well and I didn't do it. I'd rather be in that position, I think, than go for him and he pissed me off. And that's my opinion. So if you fancy it, it really is a brilliant run of fixtures for Palace. It's the best of any team over the next 6 game weeks or so. And to be honest, if you go up to 28, it's 8. And then if you move the 29 fixture to 26, then they've got the best run to the game week before the blank in 29. So I can definitely see the appeal. He's definitely the best attacking option. I just feel there are so many other good players in such great form at the moment. And there are players even at his price kind of bracket that I would prefer to have at the moment. Harvey Barnes, Jack Grealish is a little bit more. I'm buying these guys before I buy Zaha. So that's how I feel about it. Your social media assistant, Dan Ball, Antonio captain for sure. I don't hate that. Genuinely, if you want to do that, I don't hate it. T-Tac, play Adams, Johnston or Souček. T-Tac, again, if you use the benching dilemmas graphic, bottom of the screen below me. Work from left to right. Eventually, you'll find your answer. See all 700, play Johnston or McCarthy in goal, James. Oh, it's probably a toss of coin. I would probably just go Johnston. Because Fulham are not, they don't score many, so that would just, it's every chance that could be kind of 1-0 West Brom or 0-0 today, so just Johnston. Whereas I'd be surprised if Villa don't score today. Rajan says, who should I get in, Sterling or Fernandes? Well, it's not a straightforward question, is it? Because how long are you planning for? So it's very easy to look at it now and go, Sterling, next 2 fixtures, amazing. I look at Bruno Fernandes in game week 24 and game week 25 and think, ding, captain. I ain't selling him and then bringing him back. But to buy now, Sterling. FPL Fan Show, thanking captain on the graphics. They are good, aren't they? FPL Jovial, very nice screen graphics, mate, in the stream. It looks better now. Well done. Robin Richmond, mad to take -4, swapping Sterling to Gundo. I say generally that nothing is mad, but the bottom right hand corner of my screen might give you a clue. Thomas Kowalski, hi James, Souček or Harrison, thanks. Souček, Simon, thoughts on Jack Grealish captain? I make him 10th best option, just sneaks into my top captaincy picks. I think you've probably got a better option in your squad, i.e. a Manchester City player, unless you're sitting there with Diaz, Stones and nothing else, then in which case you might be landing that way. But I wouldn't captain Grealish over Fernandes. So I do think he's a reasonable option. I know the FPL General is a far better FPL player than me. His plan was to stick the armband on Grealish. I've revealed an FPL General patron secret there. That was his plan. So look, he's a far better FPL manager than me and he's going for it. So I think it's reasonable. I've highlighted the issue there with no Cole Walker Peters for Southampton, so I generally don't mind it. Where are we? Jack Charlton at 20 minutes to deadline, guys. Obviously, for those new to the stream, you obviously can see the clock in the right-hand corner, obviously building towards 11 o'clock deadline. That time should be live. I'm trusting FPL Captain's got that off Big Ben. Obviously, you can see my predictions for the game week on the left. Benching headaches below. Next 5 fixtures for each team below that. My top captaincy picks for the right. And my team to the top right above that. Jack Charlton, hey mate, hope you and the fam are well. We're all good, thank you mate. On a wild card, who would you rather, Madison, Barnes or Yuri? I've had Maddo for weeks, but Yuri is teasing me. Cheers, James. I would stick with Madison. No point jumping around. And if I was buying one, I think I'd still go Madison at the moment. Paolo Gatti, will Newcastle get back some form? That depends a lot on Alan St. Maximin. But at the moment, I can't see it. Matt Derbyshire, roll FT or get a third City player in, thinking Armstrong to Gundogan, if anything. Yeah, I'd get it done, Matt. Get it done, my friend. Finn Moody, what's your rank? 346,000. Which I'm very pleased with, considering pre the game week 16 wildcard I was 1.9 million. Shows you can make ranks in this game. Willie A. Hi James, who'd start at Bamford's Antonio or Watkins? I'm benching 2 of them. Check out the benching dilemmas graphic, Willie. Sayuj, Souček to Son for a hit of no Spurs assets. I can't be advising Heung-min Son in for a hit, I'm afraid. He's the only Spurs asset that should be remotely interested in at this minute anyway. Finn Moody, how many you got? What does that mean? As in children, I've got 1. Wives, 4. Irish Maverick, Salah or Mane? Have neither. Be Salah for me, mate. Ultra close. Hey, mate, love the graphics. Best of luck. You too, my friend. Whitebeard, morning in Sky. What do you think? Ings at 9.9. I'd rather go Calvert-Lewin, my friend, if you haven't. I'd rather that. There's no great need to get Danny Ings in. He's got Manchester United this week. Is that because you're thinking of captaining him next Saturday against Newcastle? I feel there's better options. Like I'd prefer Antonio against Fulham, for example, on that day. There's better options that day. I'm just looking at the fixtures now to remind me who's playing next Saturday. Arsenal against Villa. United got Everton. I'd still go Fernandes. I don't think that's where. I'd rather go DCL. If that's looking for a Kane replacement in Sky, I'd rather go DCL. Finn Moody, Son or Barnes. Or the other thing you can do, you want to be really brave and get a higher return out of it. If Timo Werner is in the Chelsea team tomorrow and you can afford it, might be an option. Alternatively, Giroud, if he's in the team again, maybe. I'm not keen on that though. Finn Moody says Son or Barnes. It would still be Son for me. Fraser Walker, hi James. Thanks for all you do for us. Which third Spurs and third Everton player are best option after Son, Kane, DCL and Everton? There is no Spurs option after Heung-min Son as it stands. After DCL and Dean, just James over Richarlison at the moment, I think. I'm not keen on any of them defensively massively beyond Luca Dean. I'd pay the extra for Dean. So James over Richarlison. Henrik V, get Grealish in for Souček for a hit. Not massive on that. Just bear in mind Souček's got Fulham in 23, Sheffield United in 24 as well. Not that the fixtures matter too much for him. DJ Music Case, wow, loving the new graphics, James. Cheers, mate. Well done, captain. All Stars Club play Johnston versus Fulham, McCarthy versus Villa. Johnston. I'll go through the next 15 minutes as quick as I can, guys. Apologies in advance to the many of you whose question I'm not going to get to. FPL telling Josh, morning James, with Kane out this week, would you do Adams to DCL, Rafinha to a mid of Son's value or below? Have 1 free transfer, no you sold both of them. Who would you prioritise out? No hit. I would go Adams to DCL, mate. Your famous BVZ team looks great. Thank you. Mirza, good morning. Would you take out Souček to Gundogan for a -4? Thanks and good luck. I don't mind that. Nosbit says, morning. With most people playing safe by going Kane to DCL, how do you feel about the more aggressive play of Kane to Richarlison? I mean, it's fairly straightforward when you look at my team sheet, my friend. Richard Cooper, big up Planet FPL. Gundogan or Sterling captain. Big up George. Bottom right hand corner of the screen is a big Chloe. Peter G, hi James, Sky question, who would you recommend between Rodri, Maddison, Tielemans or Barnes? Cheers. Maddison. Mark says, hi James, hello Mark. Captain Diaz, Cancelo or Gundo. From that I'd go Gundo. John Wilkes Brewster for DVL for a hit. Don't know what Dutch league he plays in. DCL for a hit, yes, fine. Already have Bamford Antonio. Looks like you'll be joining me, mate. You're very welcome, George Cooper. Thank you. Prince Srivastav. Mate, you need to be good at FPL with a name like that. Wood to Watkins or hold free transfer, play Souček. I don't mind Wood to Watkins. I quite like that. By the way, it's a great name, Prince. Garang, Antonio or Dean for bench. Jesus, fuck, man. You need to bench someone else, and I'll make that abundantly clear. Don't be benching either of them this week. Oh no, where's the chat gone? Infamous BVZ, why Justin on bench? Also, you reckon a Mateus Pereira could be good as he has some nice fixtures too. West Brom have the best next two fixtures. Brilliant. Pereira in his position can return. We've seen that recently. No, I would not be doing that. Trust me. But by the end of Tuesday night, you'll be itching to get rid of him. You've got him for 4 days. Good luck with that. If your squad is amazing and you can play that short term, crack on. Good luck to you. Why Justin on bench? I think Leeds will score. It's fairly straightforward. You can see my predictions on the screen, left-hand side. That's going to influence some of my decision making. Is what I actually think will happen in games. Adam says, hi James, is Dean worth a -8? Not unless he's getting you attacking return, is my general opinion. Javid says, Maddison brace. Van Max 14, Hale James by Bamford over Souček. I feel like I've explained this one and you will have heard me explain why. Stephen Martin Jones, Foden for Gundogan for a -4. Why? Sir Cartier, hi James. How do you feel about Barnes' captaincy? I feel like you've been listening to Black Box, which we recommend as obviously great FPL content. Not for me. Personally, not for me. General, your predictions are trash though. That's true. And I hope they're trash as well, because I hope Spurs win at Brighton. Max ML, worth selling Kane to Watkins for a -4 or just play Rafinha and avoid hit? I'd do it. Callum Stokes, Souček or Justin. Callum, you'll find the benching dilemmas bottom of the screen, mate. John Mackin, can you tell my dad to turn the AC on? John Mackin's dad, can you turn on the AC, please? I don't know if he wants it hot or cold, but turn it on. Stian Bodsdale, no question this week, but the screen looks flipping fantastic. Cheers, FPL Bix. Hey James, hope you're good. I'm well, thank you. Is Dean worth a punt on captain as he's been playing left midfield? As said, there are so many names you could call on this week. It's not for me. But you lay it out as a punt. If you want to do it, I ain't going to put you off. Sod it. Olsen says Wilson and Souček to Calvert-Lewin and Gundogan for a -4. Yeah, quite like that. Nigel Sam, hey James, based off your predictions, would you captain DCL or Dean? Based on my team, which is on the screen. I mean, and the Catsy picks, I don't have Dean in my top 10. So, DCL. Optimus Prime, hey boss, how are you? Always like when you write my message here, always make other voice. So Grealish and Richarlison for Kane and Saka. Your opinion? I'd rather go DCL over Richarlison, but yeah, otherwise fine. FPL Ibro, hey James, just saying new graphics awesome, keep it up. All questions answered, cheers. Samil, love the deadline streams, James, you're very welcome. I think it's it could be Ike. Actually, it's probably Ike, isn't it? Please help James Kane, DCL, and taking -4. Souček to Son Maddison, any idea? I don't want to advise the -4 over Son, but actually next to Maddison, I'd rather prefer to say Son. Thank you very much, Lee Jackson. Yourself with the 2 sort of zeros, eyes, whatever that is. You only have to ask questions once, mate, and I've answered already, haven't I? Mo FPL, hi James, goalkeeper Deloma, Johnston and McCarthy. You've done that one. Johnston, Samba, Roy, KWP to Dean, worth a -4. Well, it will be if KWP is going to be out beyond this weekend. Who does Southampton have next? Man United. Newcastle next week, though, when Luca Dean has Manchester United in game week 23. Probably yes. Sayed, what your opinion about Werner? Decent player, battered for confidence at the moment. Wouldn't go near him. Prince says, Wood to Watkins, question or play Souček? Feel like we've done that, mate. Yes, I'd go Watkins. Lucas says, Mane, Salah, Sterling. If I was buying one, genuinely right now, I would buy Sterling and I'd probably reverse that transfer very quickly for Mo Salah. J Lodge, morning pal, would you play Pope or Johnston this week? Cheers. I would just take a chance on Johnston. I'd be surprised if Burnley kept a clean sheet tomorrow. I'd also be surprised if West Brom keep a clean sheet today, but I think there's a little bit more chance for him. Sam B, I can't be doing with this. All the YouTubers are captaining different people. I know. Isn't it nice that we're all doing something different? Variance is good. Jude says, good differential on captain DCL. Let's hope so. Akshay, although to be honest, I'd be quite pleased if Newcastle went there and won 1-0. Because it'd be good for my team who need some bloody help at the moment. Akshay, whom should I start between Cresswell, Rafinha and Souček? Well, Akshay, since you took the time to put the question in capital letters, you can refer to the benching dilemmas on the screen, mate. Mary Miller, who to take out for DCL? Watkins, Antonio or Bamford? To be honest, I think DCL, Watkins, Antonio, best three forwards at this minute. So, it has to be Bamford. Nilish, if I have Grealish, should I sell him for Barnes? No. Adam says Barnes or Madison? Madison. FPL Galactico, hi James. Have exact money to do Maguire to Dean. Worth a free transfer. Bank it. I believe it is. Do it. Jenny says my only captain option Salah Son. Any suggestion? Yep. Look at the top captaincy picks on the screen. Himesh says Perez, laughing my arse off. Kerry Jones. Hi James, would you play Johnston Martinez? We've done this one. Stian, on another note, as I read about what tier I'm on, I came across a line where it says I get a phone call one a season like getting a call from the White House. Hello, this is the president. Well, you'd have to give me your contact numbers first, Stian. But at some point in the next couple of months, my friend, me and you will talk. That's a promise. Stephen Drury, Gundogan in, Harrison out for hit. Alternative is play Rafinha. Gundogan's probably going to be worth this -4. Ryan Robertson, we've done this. Isaac, Gundogan for Souček, -4. Yep. JK, morning James, hope you're doing well, boss. Taking a hit to bring in DCL and Barnes for Adam Souček. No Son in my team worries me. Your thoughts on it? Probably don't worry about it. Ike says Barnes or Madison. Feel like we've done this. Simeon says, hey James, Son and Watkins or Zaha and DCL. Also feel like I've done that. I've explained Zaha and DCL is probably going to do your head in. Cinema Crazy, Mahrez or James this week? Punt Mahrez personally. Information period. I have Antonio, Adams and Watkins. I only go with 2 of them in teams. What 2 should be good option? Antonio and Watkins. Ben Cameron, morning James. Hello my friend. I know your philosophy regards attackers over defenders. What about Chilwell versus Antonio? Doesn't seem as straightforward as rest. No it doesn't, but still pick Antonio. Charlie Francis, thoughts on Dallas out -4 for Castagna? No, I don't think so. I'd find that difficult to say Luca Dean worth the -4. So, I mean, I think Leeds will score tomorrow, so not for me. Jude says Justin and Antonio out 4-4-2. RACS. Would you start Rafinha or Bamford, James? Is it negligible? No, I'd play Bamford, mate. Marcus Nelson, should I play Target or Bamford? Bamford. Vicky01242, it's pissing down rain today and gusty and clearer tomorrow. Do you have any general thoughts on how weather may affect potential hauls? No. I think that wet conditions can often improve quality of games and lead to more goals. But that's not overly going to come into my thinking unless it's extremely windy. Gusty, maybe, but at this time of year, probably not strong enough for it to be to the kind of effect we sometimes see in early winter or very late winter. It's unlikely to be windy enough to bother anyone today. I'm looking out the window now and the trees ain't even moving, to be honest. Grapple says, hi James, I'm relying on one of Lindelof or Reece James to start to get 3 defenders out. Worth the -4 to get Dean in those circumstances. Yeah. For Lindelof, pin Lindelof. Sod one of that. Just pin it and then reassess Reece James next week. Lindelof, Bailly. I often get, are they a trap? And I haven't heard that mentioned once in this stream yet, which is really nice. People like Bailly and Lindelof are a trap. They're going to get you. Or says Captain Salah or DCL is a clue in the top captaincy picks on the screen. Alex Peary, morning mate. Captain in Barnes this week. Officially gone mad, I think. Good luck. Good luck to you too, Alex. As he says, do you ever look for past form against opponents to make judgments on which players to pick? Only if I'm making a decision based on one game week. So if I was free hitting last game week, I would have considered someone like Roberto Firmino, for example, because he does historically have a great record against Tottenham. And I say historically, in the recent games, he's now scored in the last 3 or 4, I think, against Tottenham. But then I wouldn't have wanted him in my team this week. So I only would consider that really on a free hit. And even then, it needs to be very recent. So take that example earlier. We talked about Southampton's goals against Aston Villa. Yeah, okay, they scored 4 against them in the 4-3 earlier this season. But the results from last season and the season before are completely irrelevant because of the change in Aston Villa. So you have to judge each one individually. Jude says, last week everybody were expecting Man United to beat Sheffield United comfortably at home because Sheffield United do the upset again at Man City. No. Denver said, afternoon James, good or bad, took a -8. Adams for Antonio, Rashford to Barnes, Wood to DCL. Robert Pichersky says, bench Bamford, Antonio or Lookman. It'd be Lookman. Jenny says, quick question, James, captain Salah or Son? I mean, it's a quick question, Jenny, but probably took you quite a bit of time to write, and the answer's on the screen already. Lucas Cox, who should I get in the mid for under 7.2? Maddison, Barnes, Zaha, Saka, Soucek, Bowen. From that list, I would go Maddison. Addy says, scared for the first fixture curse with DCL captains, mate. No, I really don't get bothered by this sort of thing. DCL also scored a hat-trick in game week 2 against West Brom, which I believe was a 12:30 kickoff. George, how long do you think Kane will be out for? Appreciate you're not the club doctor, mate, but Mourinho scared me last time with Son. I think a month is a reasonable expectation. Nasu, I'd go Johnston over Pope. We've got 3 minutes, I believe, to deadline. No, just over a minute, actually. Just over a minute to deadline. Make sure your teams are locked in, guys. FPL Broker, good luck, James. New graphics looking awesome. I think I'm the only person in the FPL community keeping Kane. Hope his injury isn't too bad. Look, I hope you're right, and I hope it works out for you, mate. Stephen Smaley, hi, James. Your clock is wrong, mate. Is it? No, it's FPL captain's clock, so I'm going to blame him. And TJ, hi, James. I'm captain. To be honest, on the clock, what you may need to bear in mind is that the images come through to you on a delay. That's a really good point. FPL captain, we need to note that for next week. So there's a good chance it's 11 a.m. now. Or he's gone too early. I'm not sure. Ignore the clock. I'll get clarity from him. Ant TJ, hi James, I'm captaining. Please do laugh. Gundogan this game week. I won't, Ant, but I think it was you who originally asked me, wasn't it? Do you think it's worth selling Rashford for Leicester midfield? Maddison or Barnes? Thanks, James. Yeah, I'd move that on. And Maddison. Alejandro Perez, hey there, James. Start Mitchell or Target. Benching dilemmas on the screen will help you. Also, should I start Soucek over Bamford? No. Keegan Carty, do I play Foden? I mean, look, in the description of this stream, it says ask a silly question, get a silly answer. So I'd put Foden third on the bench. Jude says Cancelo should be benched. Pep rotation system. Jude, you'll scare people. Willie A, hi James, help. Play Robertson or Antonio. I would never leave either of them out. You really need to find a different solution. I'm not joking. Ark says Antonio or Watkins whom to start. I can't start them both. I mean, similar answer, but I would not leave Antonio out. Natasha Stubbs, hi there. Would you bench Fabianski or Johnston this week? I would bench Fabianski. Sukram, Adams Bamford to DCL for a -4. Yes, and I'd remove Adams first. Jack Tasker, Arc, Vortex, read bottom left of screen. Aiden, should I sell Rashford? Yeah, but who are you buying? Yes. Keegan Carty, Foden for Zaha. Yeah, please. Adams says, hey James, Barnes and Maddison, done this a few times, Maddison, looking to move from the ESM, that's Smith Rowe, have money for any midfielder. I'd go Grealish, personally. Alan McDaddy, hey James, sorry if you've answered a similar question already, sell Wood for a hit so I can bench Bamford. I just played Bamford. Alan McDaddy, we've just done. Oliver R, thoughts on Watkins, extremely good prospect over the next sustained period. I think he's got the best XG of any player over the last 11 game weeks. He's had more shots in the box than any other player in the last 11 game weeks. And he's had more big chances than any other player in the last 11 game weeks. And he's scored 2 goals. He's coming for Ollie Watkins. He's high on my radar. And I make it 11 o'clock, guys. in terms of my time on the graphic, it probably says later as you're watching this. I'll get some clarity from FPL Captain in terms of the time and whether I'm wrong, it's wrong. I suspect FPL Captain is probably right rather than me. But certainly Deadline has passed. Thank you everybody for your questions. Apologies that I can't get through them all. It's becoming more and more difficult. But I feel that went better this week with less repetitive questions. There were a few that kept repeating, like Maddison versus Barnes and stuff like that, but that's understandable. The best advice I can give people for future is if you ask a question and I've answered it already, just go back and delete the message. Would be ideal, and then we can get through as many different scenarios as possible for people. If anybody has any non-FPL questions, happy to hang around for the next 10-15 minutes or so, and I'll cover them for you. For the rest of you, if you just came for the FPL, you are free to leave if you have no interest in anything in your lives other than FPL. And I wish you the best of luck for game week 21. Deadline stream on Tuesday will be 3:30 p.m. Main Planet FPL podcast for you on Monday. And obviously February is the start of a new month. And if you want to support the content that me and Suj provide, then by all means support us on Patreon. It's not because you want to pay us for FPL advice, because let's be honest, you get all the advice here for free. You're paying to support Planet FPL's content. And the more money I get, the more chance there is of me buying FPL Captain some beer. Although, just on that note, for my man Chris, still listening, he knows, in the Correspondence League this month, I think I've got about a 10-point lead over him, and we're first and second for January. And he knows if he wins that, he's definitely getting beer off me. But yeah, if I get enough new patrons, I'll just buy FPL Captain some beer anyway, because he is helping us with our content. FPL Captain is saying, haha, indeed, the clock is a few minutes early. Alright, don't support Planet FPL on Patreon, I'm going to buy him fuck all. What I would say, Chris, is better to be early rather than late. I'm fairly certain of that. Right, let's get into the questions. Well done, Arc Vortex, for retracting a message 9 times over, because you just would have got permanently removed from this channel, mate. Right, let's see. Let's go through these and see who's first. Yes, well said. Another hoops. You know what's going on here. Ray Koreshi says, James, layout looking so professional, lad. It's all captain's work. I'd almost confuse you for being an expert. Please don't do that. I'm just a guy who talks about football. Going Diaz captain for the Shield. Good luck. And to you too, mate. NJ, I'm thinking, oh, that's FPL gone. FPL gone. Paul Ronner saying, nice to see a fellow Lookman owner. Paul J, what do you think of Art Vortex? To the opposite. Yes, he won't get banned now because he's been smart enough to retract his message, so that's fine. Stian Bostel says, just to clarify, Biden Obama, not Trump. I think I'm fairly glad that I missed your message, mate. Where's all the non-FPL stuff? Oh, I can see my mum's in the chat. Loving the new graphics. Have a good day. You too, mum. Have a good one. Hope that's an emoji of Harry in your graphic. I can't see because I'm going blind. Mind of Thomas, if you didn't have Salah, would you bring him in? Where's the non-FPL questions? Right, Paul J, what are your plans for the double and blank game weeks? Okay, so I covered this a little bit during stream, but happy to do so again. So for me personally, I've used bench boost and free hit. So it's get to 25 and then assess if I'm in a good position for 26 or not. Teams I want to target, I mean, the two teams I want to target now really are Villa and Everton. I've obviously got an Everton in today. It's possibly maybe Everton for me again in midweek, perhaps Robertson for Dean, and then Aston Villa to target from there. And then I'll see where I land. That's the thinking. And if I've landed well for game week 26 and I have a nice balance for game week 29, because I obviously need that balance, then I won't wildcard in 25 and I'll just swing with it. If I've got 9 or so good doublers, great. What I don't want to do is actually get there and have 14 or 15 or so good doublers, because then I wish I'd have held the bench boost. My plan is then to get towards sort of 8-9 for game week 29, which I think is possible because I think there's quite a few teams who will have double in 26 and play in 29. I think that's going to be easier to manoeuvre than we expect at the moment. I can't tell you who those teams will be, but for example, Leeds, Fulham, Villa, Everton, Tottenham, all possibilities at the moment that could have that situation. And there's even others that we can't see at the moment, where suddenly there's a game that might get added to game week 29. I referenced an example yesterday where Aston Villa and Tottenham could be played in game week 29, for example, and they would both almost definitely still have doubles in 26. So it depends how I land, and I won't know that till probably before the 25 deadline. If I land, great, and I can get to a good position for 29 as well, and I'm happy with the fixtures in between, then I'll wildcard in game week 30. That's now my strategy. For those who have the bench boost still, you are almost definitely going to wildcard in game week 25. Almost definitely. And you're going to bench boost in game week 26. For those without, and perhaps just got the free hit, it probably to get it again. It depends where you land once you get to 25. So it probably depends how brutal 29 will look for you. But if you've got that nice balance, and I think you can look at the teams that I've mentioned that might give you the balance. It's not to say you shouldn't sell players from these teams. Like I've just sold Rafinha, for example. If you've got that nice balance, then where you free hit is going to be completely circumstantial. It might even be that you hold on to it to take advantage of possible doubles in 32 or 37. Triple captaincy, I can't tell you. A lot's going to depend on Tottenham. Because I know that quite a way ahead Tottenham could have a nice double in 37, and the more Tottenham progress in the cups, the more that becomes a possibility. If obviously Tottenham then don't reach the FA Cup final, which let's be honest, we never do. I don't think we'll reach the FA Cup quarter final, to be honest with you. But I'm conscious of that yeah, that could be the best one that's left. But there still needs to be a lot of factors to happen for Tottenham to still get that 37 double. And if there's something that I really like in 25, I won't hesitate to just go for it. Not 25, sorry, 26. Or for City in 24, 27. I think that needs KDB fit for me to do that, personally. I can't see me putting a triple captaincy on someone like Gundogan. I mean, 24 for them could look like Tottenham at home and Everton away. It just doesn't feel like the best to me. They'll win both games, I should imagine, but it just doesn't look the best in terms of maximising a triple captaincy opportunity. I can tell you what that possible 37 double for Tottenham would be that I thought was a possibility. Bear with me a moment, I'll tell you. It would be Villa at home and Fulham away, possibly. Another unlikely one for Tottenham is Everton away and then someone else. But there's also the possibility that Tottenham could land into a random week if they hold an extra fixture back. So, for example, it's not impossible if Tottenham go out the Europa League in, I want to say, the last 16 stage. It's not impossible that Tottenham could have a double win somewhere like 34. Which could be, say, Sheffield United and Fulham, for example. So there are things that make me want to still hold on to that triple captaincy till I've got more information. Where I'm using it, generally, I haven't got a clue. I couldn't tell you at the moment. I probably won't use it till I've got the full understanding of what's happening with Tottenham. Because I would like to use it on Harry Kane, ideally. It obviously needs to be fit. Jepshi third, graphics quality, love the predictions idea. What would be your favourite choice of colour for a Spurs away kit? All day long navy blue. All day, every day. Navy blue. Navy blue, white shorts and navy blue socks. All day long. All day long. Alana Hooker says, hi James, question for after deadline. Is there any reason why you don't do these streams on Twitch? I want to give you my money and people can still watch for free without an account. Good luck. To be honest, Alana, I could open the super chat here on YouTube and I could make some money. And it's not something that I promise that I won't ever do. It's not something I want to do at the moment. And one of the reasons for that is because I read all the questions in order. I'd rather, again, so if people think, oh, I want to support the content by paying, I know, Alana, you obviously already are a patron, then support the content on Patreon. That's what we'd prefer at the moment. I'm not saying that we won't open a super chat ever on YouTube. It's not something that I intend to do at the moment, but it also may get to the stage where there's so many people in here that unless people were sort of asking questions in the first 5-10 minutes, then I'm never going to get to their question, in which case also then the super chat becomes a bit more viable because people really want their question answered. I get that. So in terms of Twitch, we kind of concentrated on growing the YouTube platform at the moment. We're up to 4,000 subscribers now, which other than this particular stream, we don't really push YouTube at all. I mean, Ask James still gets way more views, way more listens than views, and it's not even close, by the way. So we're still a podcast at the end of the day. Twitch is something we will look at again. I don't know how this would set up on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. If it's the choice of one, at the moment, I'm going to stick to YouTube because I know and understand the platform, and it'd be as simple as that. Jed Reynolds says, stream as per. Thank you, mate. Just a couple of quick ones. Where do you see Ainsley Maitland-Niles fitting in at Southampton if he joins them on loan? And what do you make of John Bostock's move to Doncaster? John Bostock's gone to Doncaster. Wow. Pleased to see him back in English football. I would say that. I've spoken about this before. He was such a talent as a 16-year-old and he just disappeared. First time I ever saw him for Tottenham, 16-year-old. He was our youngest ever player. Ball dropped out the sky and he killed it in one touch and then played a rapid through ball into the forward. And I thought, wow, I never saw him again. Just shit happens. And it can happen to kids that are amazing at 16 and you don't know who they are by the time they're 19. Maitland-Niles at Southampton. Obvious competition for the fullbacks, which they don't really have at the moment. He can cover both sides. And it's another body in midfield. To be honest with you, I wouldn't see him starting for them when everyone's fit. So I don't really know how to answer that. But I think he's probably been bought as a midfield player. All-Stars Club, thoughts on favourites for Champions League this season? Bayern Munich. Probably then City. Don't think Barca or Madrid will win it. I don't think Barca will beat PSG, actually. I would love Poch to win it. I wouldn't have that envious thing. I'd love it if he won it. I don't particularly want PSG to win it, but I would love Poch to win it. I'd be so happy for him, honestly. Another hoops. Hi, Alana. Best way to support Planet FPL is through Patreon. If you're interested, she's very interested, mate. She's in with us. Jacine Jazz, hi James, good luck for the weekend. Thank you. Sam Warren, what's your plan with Kane in Sky? So I did cover it during the stream. I don't own. My recommendation would be, depending on your setup, DCL Sun or Thiago Silva, depending on what works best for you. I'm going Matip to Thiago Silva tomorrow. Mark says, love the content, thank you. Stephen White, you're on my fucking list for a call as well, mate. I'll be in your DMs in the next couple of days. I know you said to wait previously, so it's come back around. We'll have a catch up. Ben Cameron, Sky question, captain choice today. City being 3 p.m. kickoff, no team news, etc. Is he better to go safe with Bruno or Grealish? I'm going Diaz. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't play. So that's what I'm going to do. I think the really brave ones will go Cancelo. I would genuinely prefer Grealish over Fernandes today for Sky. I think it would be a good choice to go against Bruno in spite of the ownership. I'm going to go Ruben Diaz. I think it's just safe, lock in. If he plays, it's almost definitely a 10-pointer. He's probably the next one for the Hall. If I didn't captain him and he scored today, I don't think I'd be able to forgive myself. So again, it's still better I go down that route. Ignatius says, how's the lockdown and vaccine situation in UK, James? Hello from Indonesia. So the situation here is bad. Very bad. We've just gone past 100,000 deaths. We've got the worst per population death rate, at least certainly in Europe, I think. I think it's more than Italy. We're probably going to be in lockdown, I think, for at least another month, I think. Can't see anything getting lifted till at least probably third week of February or so in terms of any relaxation. In terms of how me and the family are doing, we're doing fine. It is what it is. You just have to get on with life at the moment, and make the best of it. I hope that the little bits that me and Suj do, and Chris's involvement and Manchild's involvement, help with the content that help your days. That's it. And I'm busy all day, every day. I genuinely, is not a lie. I finished work basically in terms of what I was doing at sort of 1 o'clock-ish last night, and I finally got to relax and once I'd caught up with messages and stuff about 2 o'clock. And I looked at how I was going to bench boost my Scottish fantasy team this week. So I'm busy so it's fine for me at the moment. I'm keeping myself busy. I realise for a lot of people that is difficult. If anybody's struggling, when I always say to people get into my DMs, it's never like a slide in my DMs with thoughts of FPL. The reason I keep my DMs open isn't really to advise people. I do that here. I do that on my Ask James stream. I don't really care when people slide in my DMs and ask my fantasy advice. As long as it's beyond faults, I will generally respond or give a thumbs up if you're saying, what do you think of this? But my DMs are open because if people want to reach out because they're struggling with their mental health and stuff, that's why they're open. So if I'm at the point where no one thinks my mental health is needed, I'll close my DMs. I'm here because I want to be open and approachable, so if people feel they need to reach out, they can. That's why my DMs will always be open. And it doesn't matter if you haven't spoken to me in the past or anything, reach out. I will listen. I might not have solutions, but if you feel reaching out to me will help, that's why they're open. Joe Finney-Badder, if you still had all your chips, what would be your strategy going forward? Wildcard 25, bench push 26. Yeah, I'd have to go down that route. Jassim Jazz, at the moment, which team is more settled and the best player for the half season, non-FPL wise? I'll pick Villa and Grealish. Yeah, I won't argue that. I mean, it's alarming that Villa lost in midweek because they shouldn't have lost, and that's kind of what might keep them out of European places. Because at the moment, they're better than Arsenal, they're better than Tottenham. You can make a case they're better than Chelsea. When that 11's fit, honest, they're a match for anyone. Jack Grealish would definitely be my player of the year. Just over Kane, then Son. But I would go Grealish. Stian Bosdale, is Sky a national contest? Can't get it in Norway, so can you get me a proxy for next season? I will not be responsible for getting you a proxy, my friend, but my patrons, and you are obviously one of them, will probably link you with some ways you can find one if you want to ask in the Sky channel. Jesus, there's a lot of questions in here. I'll tell you what, I'll go to half path, guys, and then I'll cut it off. JB, hi James, from Down Under, were you much of a punter? If so, what did you punt on? Football, horses, cars? What's your favourite? Love your work, all the best. Football a lot. Someone probably saw that spillage. Football a lot in my younger years. I used to trade a lot on Betfair. I used to trade in profits before games started. I was really into that when I was younger. I just don't bet anymore. I tend to stick 100 quid on someone during the World Cup, and that's about it. Something has to stand out as massive to me that's of real interest, and I just don't think it can at the moment with uncertainty of football. I mean, we had one home team win in game week 20, and that was Burnley, and they shouldn't have won. There's so much uncertainty at the moment that I don't think gambling on football is just not there. And I've hardly done it at all for probably 4 or 5 years now. Whereas if I fancied something in the past, yeah, 10 or 20 quid, whatever. Used to play poker a lot. Used to always play down a fairly local boozer in Southgate on a Monday night. Met some good people doing that. It was good fun. That could go on really late. But I stopped doing it when I started working with Suj and doing the podcast and that, because I used to, when in my previous job in the bookies, I used to always have Tuesdays off. So I could be in that pub till 3 o'clock in the morning. And it didn't matter for me. Then I'd probably still come home and stick FIFA on for a couple of hours. Pissed. But I can't do that sort of thing now. It went on too late. I used to play quite a bit on Poker Stars and that, but I haven't turned it on for a very, very long time. Generally, I'm just so full with football, and now I've got Harry. That's my day, every day. JB, hi Jameson, down under. Were you much of a? That's what we just did. Jacko, do you know much about Palace new forward Mateta? Sounds like he could feature against Wolves. I wouldn't expect him to start. I'd expect him probably to be a sub, Jack. The honest answer is no. I don't know enough about him. I did have a look at a video of him on YouTube. Looks quite powerful, quite quick. Some of his finishing can be erratic, but then you look at a YouTube video, everybody looks world class. I literally looked at it because I knew nothing about him. But I still don't know enough to give you any serious evaluation on him. Do you know what? If he looks good in the next couple of games, he might be a better punt for FPL than Zaha. Chris Port says, sad state of affairs that as a Spurs fan of 40 years that I would rather watch Man City matches. To be honest, Chris, the missus said to me, she said, so what's the plan for the weekend? I said, got stream, 10 o'clock Saturday morning, and then it's wall-to-wall football till Spurs fuck up my weekend at 7:15 on Sunday. That's generally what I said to her. Ivo said, thoughts on Reta I Loma doing very well. Ivo, you pump some shit into this chat, mate. I don't know who that is. Chris Port, we've done grapple, non-FPL. Who's going to win the Royal Rumble? Oh, I'm a little bit out of touch. From what I've seen, I presume Alexa Bliss is going to win the women's one. Because her character's booming in that at the moment. And to be honest, I only really keep an eye on it through Twitter now these days. Men's Royal Rumble, who's going to win it? It depends the way they probably want to set it up in terms of who's going to be champion and stuff. And I think they're probably going to move it around, probably, aren't they? Probably Goldberg beats McIntyre and then someone else beats Goldberg. So I think I had a feeling they were trying to set up Orton versus Edge for WrestleMania. But this Wyatt Edge feud means they might be going a different way. I don't know what they're going to do with it. To be honest, it's unusual that it's quite wide open. In fact, that there's probably a number of people could win it. I wouldn't even be surprised if someone like Cena came back and win it. And they set something like Cena versus Goldberg up for WrestleMania. I mean, that sounds awful, but yeah, whatever. So the men's is really open. I think Alexa Bliss will win the women's from what I know. And my knowledge on it is limited. Martin Boyle, ever considered enabling Super Chat for the FPL Captain Beer Fund? Yeah, it's kind of covered, Martin. Although I'm not going to lie, mate. I'll get him some beers, but I'm taking most of the money. Soft Core Zeg. Again, guys, 300 people in, only 74 likes. Good job, James. How many likes are we on now, guys? 92. Someone see us to 100 before we finish. 8 minutes to go. Thank you, Alan Mockdaddy. Ryan Stubbs, what do you think is more likely for Spurs? Europa League or top four, James? I remember at Man United's first season, Jose eventually prioritised Europa and bench players in the league for it. I think top four is still more likely than winning that competition. Simply looking at betting odds would tell you that, because I think Tottenham are probably about 2-1 to finish top four, and I'm guessing probably more like 7-8-1 to win the Europa League. Tottenham's chances of top four depend on A, Kane getting back quickly and finding form and finding better solutions than what I'm watching at the moment. Good news is we don't have to play Liverpool again, but then the flip of that is we still have to play Aston Villa twice. They're better than us. It will come down to consistency. It will come down to being better than Chelsea and Arsenal, and it will come down to Leicester not sustaining what they're doing at the moment. Because if Leicester sustain the way they're playing at the moment, Leicester will finish top four. Ivor says, have you ever been asked to go on the official FPL pod or show, and what are your thoughts on their content? Oh crap, fucking hate this question. Technically yes, but at a time that wasn't possible, and it was only to be done over Zoom. I won't rule out going on it, but I'm not keen on doing it. There is no advantage to Planet FPL in me going on that show. It does nothing. It does nothing positive, in my opinion. So I don't have any real interest to do it. If I get the offer and there's a chance to go and meet James, to be honest, it would more be a chance to meet James Richardson and stuff would be what would interest me most if he's going to be there. Jules Breach as well. it would be more about opportunity to go and meet them. I think would be lovely, rather than going on the FPL show. I can't really give a toss for it, to be honest. I don't watch it or anything. I'd see a clip pop on my timeline, and one of my friends like Lee and Sam might be announced. I'll watch the clip. This is not for me. It's watered down FPL, right? I've no interest. And I'd rather not do FPL for idiots. It's FPL for the masses. I think like you either enjoy our content or you don't enjoy our content. I don't really want to do it. That offer will come. I know it will, because a few people spoke to Serge, and obviously he did stuff with James Alcott and Rambo last year. So that offer will come. I'm not saying no, and I'm not saying yes. Once it's offered, let's say, I know Serge will want me to do it, and therefore I'll probably end up doing it. I don't really want to. It holds no interest to me. Usitnez, don't lock in time, I'm done for. I don't know what it means. FPL Warrior, thanks for the stream, James. What do you think about Tuchel as an appointment at Chelsea? Seems a great upgrade on Frank. Oh God, I've lost the rest of your question now. That's not very good. It is back to Ark's all deleted messages. Where are you? Sorry, my friend. Frank to me, but hear quite a few Chelsea fans grumbling about his sacking. I'd recommend listening to Tuesday's People's Poll podcast, where I had Rotation FPL on. We spoke about Lampard, Tuchel, what next, why Chelsea's philosophy long term and stuff. Really good listen. It's non-FPL in any way. It's a really good thing to listen to before the Everton game, possibly. It's about 45 minutes long or so. Remains to be seen. He's fallen out with previous owners, which we talk about, so I don't think it's a long-term appointment. I think the suspicion with Lampard was that Chelsea were beginning to think long-term, and that's what pissed Chelsea fans off, and they don't see Tuchel as a long-term appointment either. I mean, long-term for Chelsea is 2 years, isn't it? That's a long time for them. He will improve them in the first instance. I think that's fairly certain. They'll play with a bit more high energy. Multitude of systems. They won't get drawn into like that three at the back. They're not going to play that every game under Tuchel. They're going to change what they're doing and stuff. So it's an improvement. It gives them a genuine chance to still be in a race for top four this year. Ultimate Sidemen for next week. Will I swap Zaha for Souček or Saka? I really can't bother to do any more FPL questions. Will I? I mean, it's up to you, isn't it? Sam Howard, do you think Kane will spend his whole career at Spurs? I repeat what I said last time. If Tottenham aren't in the Champions League next season, Harry Kane should leave the football club. Can't be not playing in the Champions League. He's too good a player. And the same probably now applies to Heung-min Son as well. Although we never seem to... No one ever gets linked with buying Son randomly. It just doesn't happen. You always get Kane rumours, City, United, Real Madrid and stuff. No one ever seems to get linked with Son. I'm not asking for them links, by the way. But if we're not in Champions League next year, both of them should be looking to leave. I think if Kane doesn't leave either this summer or the next summer, then yeah. For him, he should leave if we're not top four. He's got to play in the Champions. He's too fucking good. Cole JB, chicken tikka masala or backwards pizza? You know the answer to that, Cole, is definitely backwards pizza, mate. So sometimes I like to eat the crust first. Who cares? Patrick Lawson, who do you think will get promoted from the Championship? Not Bournemouth from what I saw in the second half last night. Or the first half. I only saw the second half. I saw it. I had it on mute in the background. Norwich. Brentford. Ain't no come up. And it might yet be Reading. But I think Norwich, yeah. Could be Watford still as well. In a good position. Wouldn't rule out Swansea. I mean, it's loads of possibilities there. Alana says, we'll finish with Alana's question. I'm already a Patreon. Thanks, just thinking of more ways to support. Love it, Alana. Spread the message. Angus says, how are you doing in Gaffer, James? About 80th or so. I'm on Golf Fest this week. I've got 12 doublers, which includes Smith of Bournemouth on the bench as part of the Golf Fest. And I took a -4 to get there. So quite nicely positioned for this game. We expected, if it goes well, a good rise. I'm also quite nicely positioned for next week's doubles as well with the players that I have. I overhauled or wildcarded last game week, set myself up quite nicely. So expecting hopefully to be in the top 50 or so again. And I had big dips. Probably after game, not this week, but a week after. Maybe even this week. Last question, go on then. Blair H, music question. Favourite band, James? I will say Prodigy. Seen them live a couple of times, and I remember seeing them with a mate at Brixton in 2005, and literally blew my head off. I couldn't hear anything till about 2-3 p.m. the next day in the afternoon. I couldn't hear nothing. We were going back on the tube from Brixton and we're sitting opposite each other and just laughing at each other because neither of us could hear each other. It's hilarious. Prodigy for me. Right, we'll leave it there, guys. I've gone 11:30. I've gone fucking ages this time. Hope you enjoyed the stream, guys. Good luck for your game weeks. If you're a Sky player, don't forget to lock your Sky teams in. Deadline for that is obviously at 12:30. Content this week. Planet FPL podcast, main podcast, Monday and Thursday this week. People's poll Tuesday, I'm not sure on yet. I need to think of something. Wednesday will be Sky with exclusive for you. Luke from Scout will be joining us on Wednesday Sky podcast. Friday will be Ask James again. And then Saturday Deadline stream again. Patreon podcast this week will be Q&A on Monday. Tottenham Wednesday. Differential show Tuesday and Friday. Quiz Thursday. We might have a guest host for quiz. And the advanced tiers, you'll get all the same written content that you got in the last 24 hours twice over. If you want to support Planet FPL, as I said earlier, there's links to Patreon in the bio. Don't do it today. Although, to be honest, if you do it today or Sunday, I'll just fucking refund you anyway. And then you'll get charged again on Monday. So you won't get charged twice. I'll refund you. Do wait till Monday, though, to be honest now. There isn't going to be any content today or tomorrow. Wait till Monday. Come and join us. Come and join us sort of 330 strong now. We've got brilliant Slack community. Really nice version of Twitter. There's normally intelligent people in there night and day to have a chat with and ask questions and seek help. Good competitions going on and stuff. Really good for the Sky players in terms of my spreadsheets for that and that as well. So we'd love your support, but remember, it's not to get advice. The advice is here now for free. It's to support the content and what we do. Massive thanks again to FPL Captain. Graphics are brilliant, mate. Thank you so much for your hard work. Good luck for the game week, guys, and see many of you hopefully on Monday. Ciao for now.